Remember how ex-Polish Prime Minister Andrzej Duda did everything and more to get some money from the EU? That everything included giving all its tanks to Ukraine in the very first month of the war, support the sanctions regime, and even give space to the US to station its missiles. But the dudeness failed. And look at Donald Tusk. Looks like a snake and acts like the supreme woke. And he has gotten the money. We will tell you all about it, but before that, if you're a fan of non-corporate funded free news and analysis, you've landed on the right YouTube channel. Okay, let's begin. Poland has pocketed a hefty 6.3 billion euros from the European Union, marking the first payout promised to the left Liberal government for rolling back the judicial tweaks made by the previous Conservative administration. This financial influx followed swiftly after Donald Tusk's Euro-friendly government took the reins in December, illustrating Brussels' penchant for financially rewarding administrations that align with its ideological preferences. The money flowed into Poland's coffers on Monday, April 15th, with whispers of an additional 10 billion euros possibly lining the country's pockets by year's end, per Katarzyna Peleszynska-Nalec, the minister managing EU funds. This bounty stems from the EU's post-pandemic recovery stash, earmarked for sprucing up clean air efforts, stretching broadband reach, paving roads, laying rail tracks, and bolstering childcare amenities. Previously, this fiscal stream was staunchly damned by the Conservative Law and Justice Party's tenure, whose hard-nosed stances on migration and abortion didn't exactly endear them to Brussels' bigwigs. Adding fuel to the fire was a controversial verdict from the Polish Constitutional Court, asserting that EU laws don't always reign supreme over Polish legalities. The EU had clamped down on the cash flow, citing rule of law breaches, particularly pointing fingers at judicial reforms that, according to EU officials, failed to uphold court independence. However, the winds of change brought by the Tusk administration, along with their pledges to undo these reforms, seem to have thawed the financial freeze. Indeed, with the European Commission greening the lights in February to start unblocking funds, it's clear they are betting big on Tusk's promises to reinstate quote-unquote democratic norms. The twists and turns of European politics ensure that there is never a dull moment. The European Commission also showered praises on Poland's new government for its fresh take on judicial independence and for nudging its legal system under closer EU supervision. Not to mention a thumbs up for warming up to more liberal LGBT stances. This bouquet of commendations, of course, came alongside the first chunk of EU funds, a nifty 6.3 billion euros, suggesting that Brussels' generosity might be tinged with political colors more than a strict adherence to the rule of law. Despite the new Liberal government's own rule of law peccadilloes, Brussels hasn't batted an eyelid. From dismissing top public broadcasting execs to jailing opposition MPs and even raiding a former justice minister's digs, the EU has kept mum. Ryszard Czarnecki of the Law and Justice Party didn't mince words in his interview with the European Conservative, calling out the EU for what he sees as flagrant hypocrisy. It's not Ursula von der Leyen running the show, he quipped, but hypocrisy itself. Meanwhile, on the more congenial front, EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen congratulated Poland on securing the funds, while Donald Tusk delivered a zinger on Twitter, celebrating the fruitful outcome of good cooperation. On the flip side, Mateusz Morawiecki, former Prime Minister from PIS, pointed fingers at Tusk's civic platform for the delayed funds, accusing them of practically begging von der Leyen to keep the wallet shut. In the grand carousal of EU politics, it seems everyone gets a ride, but some are more merry than others. Hell yes, everyone gets a ride in European politics, but some countries take the EU for a ride. Slovakia is one such country, the second biggest thorn in Ursula's path after Hungary. Watch this oddly satisfying report to know how Ursula and her cronies reacted after Robert Fico's ally Peter Pellegrini won the presidential election.